Hello, it's Mr. Ripley. I'm here in my art cave, a place in my house that I keep all my art supplies and other random stuff, and it's a place that not many people get to see. So I'm inviting you guys in here today because I miss you guys and was hoping I could continue some of our art lessons even while you're at home. So today I'm going to teach you how to make two-dimensional objects into three-dimensional objects. So we're going to use our drawing skills to turn something 2D, like this piece of paper, is flat. It only has two dimensions, width and height. And we're going to turn it into something that looks three-dimensional, like this eraser, which has height, width, and depth. Or here's a better example. My phone box, that side's only has height and width, but if you turn it and look at it just so, you can see how deep the box is. You can see that it has a whole nother side. And that's a trick that artists use to make their artwork look more realistic. So for this activity, you're going to need a piece of paper. Okay, it does not matter. It could be lined paper, it could be plain paper. If you have like a scrap piece of paper with a blank side on the back, use that. I'm going to use a plain sheet so you can really see my work. And then I need a pencil, any pencil. You need a straight edge. Now, if you have a ruler, that's what's best. But let me show you some art tricks while you're at home. You could use anything, a book. You could set that down and use the straight edge because we're not going to measure. We're only going to be using it to draw a straight line, so it's like a guide. You could use this piece of paper. So if you have a scrap piece of paper, you could fold it in half like that, and then that makes that folded edge is strong enough now to work as a straight line maker. So let's start really simple right here on our pages. What I want you to do is I want you just to make your best rectangle. The height doesn't matter. The width doesn't matter. It can be a skinny rectangle. It could be a fat rectangle. It could be tall. It could be short. A rectangle has 4 sides and 4 corners and 4 right angles. So there. This rectangle has height. I'm putting that's not an H. Has width, which is W, and it has height, which is an H, but that's only 2-dimensional. Here's the trick to making a 2D shape into a 3D shape on your piece of paper. It requires a dot. Up here, way up high, off to one side. I've used it on the left side. You could put your dot over here on the right side. Doesn't matter. And that dot is going to be the secret to our success. This is called one-point perspective. And that's a word and phrase that if you type in and look it up yourself on any of your internet resources, you'll find lots of drawing resources. If you want to take this farther, or if you want maybe a different explanation for it, type that in, see what you find. There's lots of stuff about it. Now, what I'm going to do with my straight edge, and this is the most important part, is I have these corners of my rectangle, and I am going to set my ruler on that corner here. Now, what I do, I'm going to hold that in place. I'm going to slide the other part of the ruler to touch that dot, and then I'm going to connect those. Now, that makes it look really long, but we'll fix that in just a second. Next, I'm going to make this corner. See how it touches the ruler here and there both. It's not over here, it's not crooked, it's not off. I'm making the 2 dots touch the ruler, and that gives me a perfect place to line them up. Let me show you how I use a piece of paper as a straight edge. If you don't have a ruler at home, it's the same thing. I take that folded edge, I make it touch the corner dot and my 1-point perspective dot, and I connect them with a straight line. See, just as good as a ruler. Now, if I was thinking about that box I showed you, or this eraser that has a third dimension. It has depth. Now we decide how far back we want the back of our rectangle block or box to look. So it could have very narrow depth like that, or it could be real huge depth like that. It depends on what you were drawing. If I was drawing like a locker, you put it like there. If I was drawing I don't know, a brick wall or I don't know, a piece of toast. I'll show you how to turn this into things later. Straight line that runs parallel to that one. And so far, this is where most people, thumbs up, no problems. But I really want you to focus on this part, because this is the part where people mess up. All your lines have to be horizontal lines, which go left to right, vertical lines, which go up and down, or vanishing point lines, which go to this point where everything vanishes. I hadn't even used that term yet. So this line cannot just be some wonky diagonal or some crooked. It doesn't connect to that because that line already does. What it is it's going to be a horizontal line, just like the top and bottom of my first rectangle. Like that. And now, if I wanted to get nice and clean, I could erase those extra lines that I don't need anymore. And it looks like that. Now, I mentioned it being a locker before. We don't have a lot of lockers in our school anymore, but I think you guys are familiar. But I could make it look like a three-dimensional object now. I could add like little locker vents at the top and bottom. You don't have to do this. I just want to show you why we want to learn how to make things three-dimensional to make our artwork look as good as we can. See, I'm going to review those steps again right here really fast. I'm going to start with 2 vertical lines. I'm going to add 2 horizontal lines. Next, I'm going to connect as many corners as I can to that point way back here. 1, 2, 3 corners, and each one is going towards that point in the top. Now, if you haven't figured it out yet, we don't use that corner and attach it to that vanishing point, because if we did, it would look like our box or locker was see-through, which is not what we want. So I'm going to turn this into, I said a piece of toast earlier. That was a weird thing to say, but I'm going to go for it. So I'm going to slice it using another vertical line, and I'm going to slice it using another horizontal line. I'm going to erase these. That's an optional step. You don't have to do all this erasing when you're just practicing. And then what I would do is I would make it look like the shape of toast. I want to make my toast fit inside. I must be hungry. I'm going to make my toast fit inside that box. And then any new corners I've created also go back to that vanishing point. Every edge goes back to the vanishing point. This is like an advanced maneuver. And then I've got my 3-dimensional toast that has height, width, depth, and butter. All right. Next, I'm going to show you what we're going to do together. So on the back of this page, or on a fresh, clean page,